The rain taps against my window, creating little rivers that distort the Seattle skyline beyond. I sit cross-legged on my sofa, staring at a single cupcake on the coffee table. Vanilla unlit candle bent like a question. 30 today. The big 30. And my phone is a stone in a pond. No ripples. I flip it anyway. No calls, no texts. Just my face looking back, smaller than I feel. The wall clock clicks to 8 p.m., and something in me exhales defeat. I open Instagram, though I know better. My brother Daniel beams in tuxedo black at a gala, violin tucked beneath his chin. Mom comments, "Our maestro." Dad adds, "That's my son." I close the app before the ache blooms. I'm not a failure. I'm a designer who gave an old Belltown lobby a new spine and convinced light to behave. Clients noticed. My family didn't. A memory edges in. 10 years old in a blue dress, waiting for cake that never came because we were late for Daniel's audition. "Next weekend," Dad said. The weekend never learned my name. I wiped the window with my sleeve and watched the skyline smear into watercolor. If no one will mark this day, I will. No grand gesture, no showroom lights. Just something that belongs to me. I open my laptop and book an empty studio at the Co-op on Western for the next month. A private residency, funded by the savings no one asks about. I'll build a room that celebrates me. The studio smells faintly of dust and old plaster when I unlock the door the next morning. Light filters through tall windows, catching motes that swirl like tiny galaxies. The space is raw, concrete floors, cracked paint, pipes rattling above, but it feels like mine. I set down the sketchbook I brought, the one that has carried half-formed ideas for years. I walk the perimeter slowly, palms grazing the cold walls, imagining transformations. Not for a client, not for a magazine spread. For me, my celebration. At a nearby thrift shop, I collect mismatched chairs, brass lamps, a mirror with tarnished edges. Each object feels like a secret, waiting to be remade. I haul them back in 2 trips, sweat dampening my collar, but I can't stop smiling. By evening, the studio glows. Lamps cast honey-colored light across the bare concrete. I place the cupcake from last night in the center of a table I salvaged from the alley, lighting the bent candle at last. The flame flickers, fragile but certain. I whisper, "Happy birthday, Leah," to the stillness. My name sounds fuller in the echoing space, as though the room agrees. I take photos, not for Instagram but for me, snapshots of a woman creating her own stage. The silence feels different here, less lonely, more deliberate. Outside, rain has stopped. The city hums, unaware of my quiet rebellion. I lock the door, holding the key like a promise. Tomorrow I'll return. Tomorrow I'll build. 2 weeks later, the studio no longer resembles the place I first entered. The cracked walls are painted ivory, the thrift store furniture sanded and polished until it gleams. I've layered rugs over the concrete, hung sketches of past projects, and arranged plants so the room breathes. Each evening after work, I come here, and each evening I leave stronger. One Saturday, I invite a handful of colleagues, people who've noticed me in ways my family never did. Ben from the firm brings wine. Nadia carries a bouquet of sunflowers. They step inside and pause, wonder written on their faces. "You did all this?" Nadia whispers. "Every brush stroke," I say, my chest lifting. We gather around the same table where I lit that solitary candle. This time, it's crowded with food, laughter, voices colliding in warm chaos. Someone toasts to my birthday, belated but real. For once, I don't shrink from the attention. I let it land. Later, when the others leave, I stay behind. The studio hums with the memory of conversation, like walls that finally learned to listen. I sit in the quiet, my hands resting on the table's scarred surface, and I realize I've built more than a room. I've built proof that I don't need my family's applause to exist loudly, that I can mark my own milestones, shape my own traditions, and still be whole. The city lights flicker through the windows. For the first time in 30 years, I feel celebrated by me, and that is enough.